look from BBG on this map.
And then again on the side of TSM, one of the other agents that we really, they were really one of the first. I can't say that. If Strong Legs is listening, I'm so sorry. But as a team, they were one of the first to bring Sky into the fold, and they've stuck with it.
Yeah, and I think that's one of those things where I can remember the first weekend that we saw TSM bringing Sky out, and we maybe even cast one of their games, but I was sitting there looking at the stats like, heck, they're using Sky. This is interesting. And I thought maybe it was a fluke. Maybe they were just testing things out, but they've stuck with it, and it's gotten better for sure. So we'll see whether or not Sabrosa on Ascent, who has gotten, of course, more and more comfortable with her as things have gone on, whether or not he'll be able to be a difference maker here against BBG.
Love the esports coaches in the chat, dude.
They've tested the waters a bit towards B. They dropped the Killjoy turret.
Switch out the tilted players
on that half of the map. While
no Brax equals lose.
Like they're walking right into, I mean, every bit of yours utility.
It's like, dude, you were just playing Fortnite like a year ago before this game came out, dog.
Lone defender over here at A. So TSM, as the execution comes in, Recon Dart goes out. Dior just calling to his teammates, time to go. Retake over here at A. They are slowly working their way over now.
Now, Sabrosa's in a really good spot here because there are two members of BBG that have taken the middle of the map away. They've taken through CAD.
Yeah, but I was a pro.
And they're trying to apply some pressure there. Rarker's the first to drop. The other remaining member, Will, heads back towards the site as TSM gets the spike down. And again, it's been pretty like lax from BBG so far. They had nobody on the site. They were entirely playing retake, and now Sabrosa, who took care of the initial flank, is now doing a bit of flanking of his own as he makes his way to CAD, and I don't think it's been checked.
Got free reign to blow up this round, and retake comes in through heaven. BBG already in tatters, critical falls, and now it's just Poach on the back foot at heaven.
Oh my god.
2 on Wardell.
Poach, stop! Stop! Stop!
No way!
Drone's not going to let him get past
thank
this
God.
mark, but that is a valiant effort.
You rooting for Poach? Yeah, no.
About to write him off, just hoping to get 1 or 2. He finds
Jesus Christ.
Nearly anyway, as Drone does fall to the spike at the end, but a nice pistol round coming out from TSM. And yeah, Doug, you touched on it. BBG being oh so willing to just allow this retake to come to fruition, but had nothing going their way. It didn't seem like it was going to work at all. Coach making us think twice about it, but solid start from TSM.
Solid start indeed, and that's going to put, well, at least for BBG, that's going to put Poach 2 points away from having his From the Shadows. On the side of TSM, like you mentioned, Wardell's going to be bringing the Marshal into the fold. We saw his ability to really blow things up with that weapon in the previous series. See if he's able to get anything out of it this time. No, it's actually Sabrosa. He's able to get something going early on. A great flash to understanding BBG's just on the other side of the smoke. They try to play a bit aggressively here to kind of stick it to him. And again, the classic is just showing to be just enough for BBG here.
Just the
two of us. Recovering nicely, even having a Spectre for his time. He's got the overheal on, so he will be rocking 150 of a stack. And I'm sure, you know, you're only...
Fuck, dude, I'm so sad that we didn't win last frame.
Potentially having your ultimate going into the next round. Certainly you want to put TSM in an economically dire situation as best you can. This will be tough, I think, to even just crack open door and find anything. He's going to opt to back up towards heaven. See whether or not he can find any of these frags.
Yeah, it'll be difficult. Yeah, he's not even able to get one. Drops down and Cutler greets him, dispatches of him as we move into the next round. TSM up with an early 2-0 lead. Sabrosa also is going to have his ultimate online. So we'll keep a close eye on that, on how that plays out. Furthermore, for TSM, you've got a couple of rifles
versus Immortals, TSM, we lost.
You've got Hayes with the Vandal, Sabrosa's going to have a Phantom, but then SMG's the rest
took an
of
L.
the way, while BBG is going to be at full strength.
Yeah, I mean, TSM so far started with an A execution on that anti-eco. They're just denying orb access to the defenders. They find a few frags over at B main, but right here, starting off, you know, BBG's got their weaponry, and there are 3 players towards B main ready to contest this, so be on Sabrosa to manage that.
Yeah, no, shot up was crazy last.
Looks to work into a beast split here, Doug.
Yeah, and Cutler got tagged up a bit from the Odin out of critical.
Literally crazy.
The B-split, as you mentioned, is fully online. They've taken the middle of the map. Ult's gonna come out there. As you mentioned it earlier, the flashes are gonna follow up as well. As Critical takes care of Cutler. Wardell trades it out, but they haven't fully committed onto the site. Now they're gonna make their way on there. BBG has some decent strength with which they're gonna attempt to take the site back, but again, Critical's just so weak. Will certainly worse for wear as TSM hunker down on the back of the site and wait for BBG's next move.
I have so many questions as to the defense of BBG in this round, but folks on the retake now. Will down to 30 HP.
Not impossible for BBG, to be honest.
In, I'll lead the charge on the retake, and Dior takes first contact over at side.
Mind.
Drone finds two with a shock dart. It's looking like Raps, Doug.
Yeah, it certainly is. Again, Critical so weak.
Drone?
Naturally, he's the last one standing. He's going to be able to carry the rifle into the next round, but Lex, this was a bonus for TSM, right? You mentioned I mentioned they had a couple of SMGs going into this.
Exit pick.
What I wanted to speak about, here it is. Okay, so you know it's their bonus, as you just mentioned. You've got no information at B main, at mid, or A main.
On the Odin.
Okay.
Is BBG Poach? Look at Poach, yeah.
Early B stack, just worried about a B
Poach is the same Poach that played Fortnite professionally for Team Liquid.
All three B defenders
How'd I hurt myself?
Defender spawn, but ready to
playing
rotate
basketball
towards mid and A.
Yeah.
All three of them caught way out of
I got
position
a boo-boo
to catch that B split where, there was 2 or 3 players from TSM mounted up at market door ready to break it and take it. So a little bit iffy on the defense of BBG. That
playing
makes me
question mark?
wonder
Yeah.
telling sign for these rounds to come.
I got like 6 buckets.
They find themselves on the back foot early. There's still plenty of time for them to make it up. They have 3 pistols going into this round, while TSM is in a far more comfortable position, rifles across the board as they seem to try to take a bit of the middle of the map. Meanwhile, for BBG, a bit of a different look, right? Like they're playing a bit more aggressively up in tree. Their positioning is a bit more confident, and of course, as I say that, they have to back up a bit as TSM just gladly takes the middle of the map.
Yeah. Well, that BBG probably
You guys are so fucking jealous, dude.
Fire exchange through the wall. Sabrosa finds one at a critical. Arcar presses through that tailwind, almost catches one, but a lot of spam moving back and forth. This was an early A stack from BBG, just kind of recognizing that TSM on 2 different low buy rounds has ended there. But TSM is already, as you mentioned, taking a huge amount of mid control and B main. This is likely to end B.
30 seconds
Suck
left.
my dick, man.
And they've kept a couple of players back. So Poach and Rocker are still here. Rocker's what they just a classic, and this time there's not going to be any magic coming out of that.
I
as
hate
the lockdown
you, dude.
has been
I
used. Poach was
fucking
the
hate you.
last one on the site. He's going to drop as well. As now Will and Bueller, now just Bueller,
Good shit.
rotate over.
Let's go.
Don't even get a chance at anything. A flawless round from TSM. 3 on the board for Sabrosa as they continue to really click.
Yeah. And something that you asked me during the pregame, Doug, I'll ask you the same question in a different form.
Chad, I think I'm gonna go heat up my food.
In the past,
I'll be right
BBG
back.
just really lean on Bjor and his Killjoy utility to kind of allow them more freedom around the map to overstack places, find aggression early. I haven't really seen it come out very often because it seems like TSM is doing a good job of avoiding it. But I guess what I'm asking is, for BBG right now, like, you haven't really seen anything that you can key in on to exploit against TSM, and TSM is finding all sorts of real estate over at mid. Actually, maybe I'm answering my own question here, Doug. Got a lot of mid control from BBG now. It's a good answer, I think.
No, I think you nailed it. As Wardell really takes care of Will, and this was different, right? Again, it was BBG trying to play a bit more aggressively, trying to take some space away, that mid control that you mentioned, but he gets a bit more than he bargained for.
Yeah, I think, you're down 0-4, and this is obviously, you got so much more Valorant left to play, but got an operator here on Rarkar. You want to set him up, and he's not able to find anything at mid yet. Missing that one there.
And TSM being a bit more patient here, a bit more cautious on how they
It's
play
in the
this
Mikey.
round out with the middle of the map again. Sabrosa gets 2, and Sabrosa's just not missing right now. He gets a 3rd. Brone's gonna get the last one, but I think we'll take a look at the stats in a moment here, but Sabrosa just seems to be lighting up the kill feed. TSM's up 5-0, 11-2 start. And look, when you're up 5-0, you're gonna have a guy that's popping off more often than not, but it really is. Drone's also 6-0. A couple of players out of TSM, they look good right now.
Yeah, Rarkar really getting shut down at mid. That BBG utility we just mentioned from Killjoy freed his team up to make some mid control happen. Will failed his frag top mid. Rarkar whiffed his op shots at mid main. You know, those things happen, that's tough. But another thing that we talked about, Doug, is Sabrosa going to bring this guy and be a difference? Already seeing the success of that agent in action. Early A play from TSM, finding the end of Judge.
Somebody killed Bjor. Nice.
Bjor looking for a second, not able to connect.
Great.
Drone takes care of him, but TSM once again have gotten on to A.
Oh, just a classic demon,
another
dude.
Terrible buy. Are tasked with trying
Put
to
him
take
down.
this thing back, and I mean, you understand that because they don't have ideal weaponry, it's going to be much easier said than done, but for TSM, they just kind of waltzed into that bad boy, man. They dropped the Sabrosa ult, and then they just kind of said, this is ours, we're taking it.
Yeah, this has almost been hard to watch. Every single one of these rounds, it's like BBG is just getting, I don't know whether or not they're getting surprised, but definitely are not ready to take a single engagement anywhere, it seems. And TSM, you know, highlighted Sabrosa, we've highlighted Drone as having some really standout plays so far. Rarkar finds his first onto Wardell with a big opener at A main.
Fury coming out from criticals while tags 2. See if he gets enough to land the kill. No. But got some info. Dealt a little bit of damage as well. But that's all he's gonna get for his troubles. And TSM, much like we've seen the last couple of rounds, yeah, they'll make some noise, right? Rarkar was getting that early pick on A long. But otherwise, they're very patient with how they're playing out their rounds. And I think for TSM, that's been a huge key to their success to this point.
You're absolutely right. And I think it's kept BBG guessing to some degree, but they're awake now, and I think that opener really is what they needed, what they've been missing in the past few gun rounds.
Now they do, Lex, so this one's interesting, right? You get the early pick, and you get some more info out of Critical's Hunter's Fury, but you also have 4 other ultimates to work with. When you're down 6-0, you imagine they really want to stop the bleeding.
While I eat in the middle of this round.
It's gonna come out. Sabrosa's just gonna go raise a bunch of noise. He eventually drops without gaining anything, and now they're just gonna pull off, right? Like you just saw a couple of members of BBG slowly take a step back, but they know the hit is towards A. Poach is already taken across the middle of the map. Cutler's on the site, and he's gonna get the spike down. Now it's gonna be on BBG again from a position of strength, which is the first time we've been able to say that all map. Are gonna try to take this bad boy back. The lockdown's gonna come out, and of course it's gonna be countered instantly by Drone's ultimate, and the lockdown goes down, and Bjor follows with it. Hayes is also gonna get, oh my gosh, Hayes gets 4! Poach is alone in a 1v4. This looks so good. It looks so good, but my gosh, TSM can do no wrong right now.
Sheesh.
Man, and that was the first time in this game that we've seen BBG kind of solidify an advantage and even make some good reads around the map, but it is no understatement to describe this matchup as BBG just getting outclassed, man. TSM having every reaction in place, knowing that lockdown's going to get dropped, you know, right on cue. Drone's just, okay, Hunter's Fury's out. He collects a tag, I think on his very first, you know, bolt through the wall. It just kind of does a little bit of damage to Bjor, but he finds it anyway. And so right away, I think TSM getting favored in that A post play.
Why are you playing?
The fact that Hayes is finding frags through a dark cover that he probably shouldn't. And 7-0.
I'm a sub in for Hayes when they need me.
Doesn't seem like BBG has an answer, and they've tried several different things. They've tried aggression, they've tried to balance the map to TSM's tendencies, and yet once again they're getting forced onto these really, really low buys, Doug, where they're able to invest some, get a judge, get a shotgun, get whatever they can just to make it a little bit competitive. But Doug, when you're down 7-0, it can't feel good to be in this scenario.
Standing ahead. Stop the wall. Again, Lex, like, that looked good. That looked really good until it didn't.
Right.
And they really fell apart at the seams. Now TSM again in a like decently powerful position, right? Hayes just used his lockdown as they try to take B. That's gonna push Will off the site. As Critical goes in, he's going to drop Wardell using the Blade Storm, dashes in. He's got the spike down. And the 3 remaining members of BBG, again, they have ultimates, but they just haven't been able to get much else going at all. Poach and Rocker both drop. Will's going to follow suit shortly thereafter. TSM get to 8.
That's right there is what I'm talking about, Doug, when we're talking about maybe BBG's asleep, and I mean that as no disrespect, but Rarkar turns the corner. Drone has, frankly, no crosshair placement on being able to return any damage or even get a frag there. And yet Rarkar, 4 knives in,
8-0 right now.
To do any damage to Drone. Drone finds an easy frag, basically. And
is this the loser bracket
take a
run?
peek at the scoreboard, and you pretty much you don't need an analyst for this one. You can very plainly see that BBG is just failing to find frags and damage around the map, even though strategically it seems like they're doing the right things in some of these rounds.
Well,
I've got your trail.
I don't know, Lex. I think that's where I'll play devil's advocate a little bit here, because it seems like BBG have been lost really in every sense of the game, right? They haven't read the map well. TSM getting onto the site unscathed. They haven't dropped anyone yet, and obviously BBG hasn't either, so this one's going to be a bloody one, folks. At 5v5, we've got a couple of members on the side of BBG checking the middle of the map. Will's going to be the one to take, or consider, the scenic route all the way around. They're going to push in through tree. Meanwhile, Wardell playing back on site. He's got that operator. Arker's going to look to do a bit of his own damage. But really, they may not get a chance to do anything at all. Poach is in a great spot, though. Poach, good for 3. He's going to drop Cutler, doing a bit of his own. As Wardell had a player in his lap, but isn't able to land the shot.
That's not my fault.
Finally find themselves on the board.
That's not my fault.
Fortunate retake. TSM had all the utility in place to make that, as you said, as painful and as excruciating to retake as possible. But a few key kills coming in from Poach. That's a huge set of, I think it was 3 frags in succession. Coming through that door. And right away, there's Hayes falling, whose utility really was the linchpin on that hold. And Wardell, if he just finds that quick scope, maybe that 1v1 is wrapped up for TSM as well. But that's not what happened. BBG get there first. And Doug, you know, I've been painting this picture the past 3 or 4 rounds now where BBG is really just failing to connect in some of these decisions that they're making.
Up battle.
That's 2-0 for Rarkar on the start against Wardell.
You see them like positioning a tiles and a cat. You can tell it's going to be a good one, and as you mentioned, that's the second time that the battle goes in favor of Rarkar. One of the few bright spots in what's been otherwise a disastrous map for BBG up until this point. But as we mentioned in the previous round, they finally get on the board. This is an opportunity for them to get something going, but the deficit's big. Get Paranoia. Will swinging out, taking care of Sabrosa.
Big
Now,
frag.
remaining members of TSM, they're kind of trapped here, Lex. You definitely can't easily walk your way into B. You've got the middle of the map. It's not really an option as well. But I guess if you're eliminating players like Hayes, yeah, the world is your oyster. You can get whatever you want. Poach is going to take his ultimate to the back of the map as TSM managed to find their way in. And again, BBG find themselves in a spot with a retake possibility. They don't have any ultimates this time. See if they're able to find any success.
Think they got this in the bag? Yep.
They've upgraded a couple of weapons. At least Bjor has now. He's going to bring a Phantom into the fold.
I mean, it's looking pretty good so far.
Just being so patient. Upper down, and all right, here we go. The spike continues to tick away. Hayes down to 51 health. Great spot. Couple of drops. Hayes already good for 4. Gonna get a chance at another one, and no, it's Bjor flying across the scene with the screen with the jumping classic. It's
losing 8-3.
You get a second.
Whew.
And the life is breathed into the lungs of BBG.
Bad, dude.
That is a 2 in a row. Big retakes. And key frag for me there. As Critical is in his drone. There at Sidewalk. A lot of missed opportunities. Sabrosa turned the corner and tried to get a wallbang out onto it, but There's a moment there where if Will loses that duel,
that's not my fault.
Both players were going to get mopped immediately, and eventually that did come to pass. But at least
can't just instantly say it's me.
Enough in the way of
okay,
a
just because we
rotation
lost
where it
one
wasn't
round.
entirely a disaster. Of course, you had even the numbers up. So nice rebuttal from BBG. And if you see guys like Rarkar and Will, which here we go again at A main. Oh, and Wardell says, "Oh, you ain't here this time? Let me check the deeper angle." Rarkar will fall. He had no clue. But I was gonna say, you see guys like Rarkar and Will winning their duels. That's a good sign for BBG. But Hayes with an ego challenge over there at mid on a critical. He wins one, but with another.
Oh, the smoke is just
Things
off
are
a little
falling
bit.
apart here for BBG, Doug.
Well, it's interesting. So Hayes has used the lockdown as Cutler makes his trip back to pick up the spike. Drone's on the site. He knows it's free.
Wait.
They're able to get on there for really nothing as Poach gets detained. Should be able to get onto A just fine.
There we go, Cutler.
The lockdown not going to cause any permanent damage as BBG, with the numbers disadvantage, going to try to take this site back. Will using a couple of leers early on to try to give them entry, give them a bit of room to work with. Bit of air. Free drone party. Oh my gosh, Drone knew he was there. Poach good for two. Poach looking for another. Poach not able to land it just narrowly.
Running and spraying now.
19 health. TSM gets to 9.
And we get the op. Yikers.
Every time that they're in a retake scenario is somehow finding two or more. And right there, just unable to find that final phantom
Sorry,
bullet.
pro Fortnite player, just a content creator.
That third and won the round for BBG.
I was a
TSM
professional
commanding
Fortnite
lead
gamer.
Now 9-3.
I went to multiple
Potentially
events.
9-3 half is the best.
Traveled
you could hope
overseas.
for BBG, but like Doug, I mean, it's an attack side Ascent. You're grabbing 9 rounds. And honestly,
competed
it hasn't
professionally.
Even looked difficult for them. You got 2 judges and a sheriff and a
Yeah,
spectre.
I competed professionally, regardless or not, whether or not I did good or not, doesn't matter.
Tough.
I was a pro.
For BBG.
Tough indeed, and it only seems to be getting worse as Poach is already.
He didn't ask if I was good or not.
The source of heroics.
He asked if I was a pro, and yes, I was. Okay.
In this map, and really one of the key reasons why they've been able to get the round wins that they have. An early drop off. You're in critical. Only 2 members of BBG that remain as TSM still in a powerful position, right? The Hunter series is going to come out from critical. At a limited space, but Wardell's wise to it. He's just going to take care of critical nice and easy. Hayes gets the third.
10-2 half.
10-2 half, and I mean, Lax, it looks like they're just trying to speed run through this thing.
Yeah, TSM is, I mean, I said it once already, it looks easy for them. And I'm not really accustomed to kind of describing BBG as anything other than underdogs, but, you know, you got to think at this point,
you're good at falling. You're pro at falling.
An amazing showing throughout any of these qualifiers.
Yeah. Do you know what I think of when people say that in chat?
Or even
I think about the kids that come up to me at LAN, shaking, sweating,
composition shakeup,
don't know what to say, and say,
that you can put out there
by the way, don't fall mid, just randomly.
You gotta wonder,
like even today.
Is this a matter of maybe just
that's all I think of.
The way of BBG, are they maybe a little
so
bit
go ahead,
slow coming into this
lean
matchup?
on the fall damage jokes.
TSM just
I know what you look like.
That much better. Are they finding their form? Because at various points in this opening
watch out for that fall damage, myth.
BBG have looked lost.
Yeah, look lost indeed. The conversation leading into this, into today, really was TSM's back. This is the TSM of old that everyone respected, and they fumbled their way through the first series, but find themselves in a very comfortable position here in the second half.
Do we win?
But this round,
we just win.
Find themselves in a bit of a back foot. Hayes has dropped. BBG have gotten on to B. They've taken their post plants. Critical in a great spot here to get one. Not able to get the second.
Huh?
Some damage has been dealt.
Guys, that shit never, that doesn't work.
Rose is fighting where Rarkar is trying to deal damage through it, and he is able to do just that. My gosh, Drone! How about that for an aim lab flick of the day, baby? TSM take the site back.
Just grid shot out there for TSM, man. Just
wait.
demolished. I mean, I'm just so glad the frenzy meta is mostly over and we're seeing ghosts back into play again. Just beautiful, beautiful headshots. Right there at the end from Subrosa. And we're gonna get
give me it again.
There it is.
Drone,
Excuse me, I said Surprised he found the wall bang, deleted out, but considering that was a 3v5, TSM just once again dashing any success, any kind of positive spin you could put on pretty much this entire game for BBG at this point.
Oh
Anytime
no, I got a fucking thing in my eye. Fuck!
Right away, and they're feeling so confident. Look at this.
I mean, speaking of which, you see BBG not really have much of a choice. They buy up a couple of weapons, Spectre Stingers. Bjor had a Bulldog, and he's the first one to drop. As Wardell aggressively peeks around the corner. And I mean,
what?
Well, yeah,
I saved it. I saved it.
I might watch it.
Right before it went in. Fucking eyelash, dude.
Just collecting some heads, man.
Eyelashes ruined my day.
Mid moonwalk. Right, he's able to take care of Wardell again, dealing more damage on the other side of the map. That's already 3 on the round for him. Cutler gets the last TSM, get to map point. And any concerns from the collective
Why do we have
masses
eyelashes? No bullshit. Something about dust.
At least for now.
Keeping the dust out of your eyes or some shit, dude.
Yeah. And I think that's
but these things get in my eyes more than dust. Like, what?
Once again, I'm gonna have to compare teams, and this is no disrespect towards BBG, but I would put Immortals on a different level when we're talking about quality of.
Why do we have eyelashes, actually? Does somebody know the full reason?
TSM, as close as they played that series against Immortals, should have been a wake-up call for me, at least, that this team is performing right now, maybe not at their best, but BBG should be scared, and right now we have a scoreline of 12-2 that is...
Nothing's getting into your eyes.
Very clear focus. Will taking a challenge. Will off the back of a Lear. Spectre finds Sabrosa. Wardell able to tailwind right out of there, but he catches the ding to the wall. Will trades that out. There's
That's
2.
cool.
Okay, Cutler and Wardell.
Hello?
Drop. Hayes does as well. Drones left alone in a 1v5. And they've made, I think, the important thing.
BBG could have this round.
Lining, right? It's
Don't
real
care.
small,
Wait,
right?
is
You
this
gotta
bonus?
look real hard to find it. But the silver lining is that BBG have managed to upgrade a couple of weapons. Remember, Lex, going into this round, they had sheriffs, right?
Excuse me, Mr. Tame.
A stinger in there
Why
somewhere.
are you rooting for BBG?
But other than that, they didn't have much to work with.
I know who you are. I know who you're affiliated with. I'm telling on you.
But the mountain you've got to climb here is...
Oh, yeah.
We're freaking talking Kilimanjaro.
Yeah, and that was TSM's bonus, so the fact that they're playing a little bit fast and loose and wild with it, not entirely surprised, but yeah.
I love ABGs. No. This is not Team ABG. It's BBG.
Struggled in his last series and certainly been under scrutiny just because of the addition of the 6-man roster TSM with Brax.
Shameless.
This is definitely shaping up to, I don't want to speak too soon, we're only on the first map, but this is definitely a stat padding map here, Doug, where any kind of feeling bad about your performance or whatever early on in the day against a better team is certainly washed away now, as I say that caster's curse onto Hayes and Wardell.
Fuck.
BBG contesting this mid control out of TSM early on, and it works out.
Like some of the response we're seeing there. A couple of thunder-footing players on the side of BBG give position away. Cutler backs up. And BBG, they have options here, right? Like they can really play this however they want to. There are so many different ways they can approach the map because of the numbers advantage that they have. Now, it is worth noting that Cutler and Drone both have rifles. So it's not like they're walking into this thing with classics or anything like that.
Uh-oh.
But you imagine this round
Let's go, Cut.
should, on paper, at least go in favor of BBG, but Cutler taking care of Poach early on, dropping things down to a 2v3.
Monka.
Deploying drone.
Will's been spotted.
Spray.
Not able to take care of him, but oh no, he does drop.
Uh-oh.
All of a sudden, we're looking at a 2v2 here. Again, folks, remember just a couple of moments ago, this was a 2v4. BBG got on the site for almost free.
Damn.
Now we even things up.
Oh, fuck.
Critical just goes nuts.
Peeking.
He gets 4 with the Spectre,
That was an
and we're
interesting
gonna play
jiggle.
another round.
That was actually really good.
Drone getting a little bit boxed out there by Cutler. It ends up in the line.
I don't know if that was that planned?
And hey,
it looked planned.
It's something that I think I frequently talk about when I'm on the mic, Doug, but you get a blowout map like this, 12-3, 12-4, potentially ending in maybe 13-4, 13-5 if TSM's able to close one of these next rounds out. A lot of, I think, what you need to be assessing is, okay, going into this next map,
Valentine's.
where's our mental at
Hog.
for BBG? Are you able to mentally reset? Are you able to just get in a good mindset before this map is ultimately over? Make it competitive if you can, but find some confidence against TSM where right now maybe we're seeing that a little bit. Will flying up towards Pizza, taking a lot of map control off of mid. And on the other side of the map, I mean, Rarkar takes A main for near free, so BBG certainly look alive despite the scoreline.
Well, alive, yes, maybe on the last breath.
Yes.
But they're certainly showing signs of life that we may have not have seen.
Ace. Me a big
Otherwise, cool
one
little
tap.
synergy there. Have the gravity well with the shock dart not to connect. But with that, TSM's able to
What a
attempt
big
at least to
whiff.
take some of that space back. Critical taking care of Hazed. And for TSM, as we've really said with BBG a couple of times, and this is the first time we're going to say this, if I'm not mistaken, from TSM, is all this is a pistol round for them, right? All they have is Sheriff's, Wardell's, Marshall.
Yeah.
Shots. Concealment.
Let's
While
go,
we've
Cutler.
seen that the Sheriff can be,
30
I mean,
seconds.
filthy in its own right.
Oh.
This may not be as easy as you would think, but my gosh, Wardell's, Marshall. I mentioned earlier in the series just how good he is with it. He's already gotten a couple of kills.
Oh my God,
Into a
that one
2v2,
looked like it
not
was
able
gonna
to
go
land
in.
The third, it was there. He walked
Shit.
in his crosshair.
Spike planted.
Critical gets the spike down. Now Cutler has a rifle. He has upgraded.
Cutler
he
could
also
win
has
this.
the Cosmic Divide, so Lex, he can do this. He spots Poach. Doesn't land the shot. Critical just down to armor. They swing at the
Good
same
double
time.
swing.
Critical
Alright,
gets
let's buy up and
four.
win. Come
Again,
on.
that was a round that really had no business
Let's
being
buy
that
up and
close.
win.
BBG win the fifth.
Yeah.
Cut the
And
cap.
Critical with a huge round finding 4 there. I mean, considering how scary Wardell was when he was in back boathouse with a Marshall in hand,
Stop
it's just
playing
like you
around.
can envision almost every single one of those frags going his way. Critical even walked directly into the line of sight, directly into the scope reticle of Wardell in the closing
where's
moments
that
of that
bear
frag,
at?
but you know, no help on the
Where on the
site.
map is
Left
that?
in a 1v1 against a deadly
14-14?
scope
No, no, no,
player
no,
such
no.
as Wardell.
Up battle again.
Chat, I had a game earlier today that went 18-18.
Wardell missing
And then the enemy
twice.
team drawed.
As Rarkar pushes him back. And again, you mentioned his ability to take that area of the map. He does it again. Bjor's going to get flashed up, and he's
Sheesh,
going
good
to get
trade.
cleaned up at the hands of Sabrosa. So a couple of kills traded early on. As BBG look to get onto a site and maybe make some more matches continue to happen. But the thing is,
18-18,
as
dude.
Sabrosa takes space away on B, you can telegraph exactly where they're going. Now they are wise to it. You see a couple of members on the side of BBG look for Sabrosa. But no, now they're going to funnel in. There you go. They do have, I mean, they have ultimates across the board.
Oh my
Wardell
God.
just narrowly missing another.
Wardell?
Get onto the site. The Seekers are going to be used out of Sabrosa.
No!
Critical's looking to get the spike down. Wardell down. Operator not in tow.
What is happening?
As the Empress is online for Will.
Can't see
Parker's using
shit.
the Blade Storm as well. Critical still hasn't been able to get the spike down. The 100 Shrew is going to come out on top of the Cosmic Divide. There's nothing there.
Whoa!
Sabrosa with 4. An ace to close the map for
What?
TSM.
You already declared one aim lab click of the day, and then
Bruh.
that spray transfer at the end there, man.
Hello?
Okay, you had the opening frag on a Bjor very early.